Hello, friends, and welcome, welcome. So as promised, we're going to do another little section of feet-based practices. This one's going to be a shorter video, I hope. I hope it's only like 10 minutes long. So let's get right into it. I'm going to just sit in a chair for this. You could sit on the ground, cross-legged, and do this as well. But for the ease of my back and for making video, here I am on a chair. So you have to do this. You have to be able to get to your foot. So if you're unable to cross your ankle at your foot, then this is probably not the video for you. It's not because you're a bad person or anything, and that's okay, right? Or have someone else manually manipulate your feet instead, and then you don't have to bend your knee so much. But bring up one foot, it doesn't matter which one. You're going to take the opposite hand, and I'm going to try to weave my fingers, right? And start here. This is the skinniest part of the fingers, right? So you're going to try to weave your fingers in between each of your toes. If you can't do all of them, do what you can, right? But if there's one that's really tight, maybe focus more on that one than what would be probably for many of us, unless you have a bunion, the easiest gap in the foot. Right. So try to find the harder ones if you can't get all the way in. And you might weave further down on your hands to the wider part of the fingers if that's accessible. And when you get there, I want you to take your fingers, this hand is showing what this hand is doing, right? And I'm going to squeeze in on my toes. Only as much pressure as what's right for you. If you just tensed up, you just told your nervous system that it needs to survive and it's in fight or flight. Don't do that, right? And then release. And then now my toes are going to squeeze into my fingers. So I'm reversing who's squeezing, so to speak. Release that. My fingers are going to squeeze into my toes. Release. And then let your toes squeeze into your fingers. And then you're going to take your hand, is the one manipulating right now, and I'm going to move my toes back as far as I can. You don't have to lift your leg up. I'm just trying to show you the motion, right? And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to pull, and I'm going to try to pull my toes, right? Oh, that's that muscle that we worked in that massage video. And then again, I'm going to pull back. I'm going to use my hands and pull forward. I'm going to try and keep all of the muscles in my foot and my ankle entirely soft while I do that and let them be manipulated. I'm going to release my fingers out, and I'm just going to notice what is happening in that foot. Take your thumbs or your knuckles. If you have arthritis, sometimes I go for knuckles because my thumbs are arthritic, right? And I'm just going to pulse a little bit through that arch. So you're in the medial arch. That's the inner arch. That's the one most of us know about. Most of us feel the most sensation, right? And then I'm going to move through the middle of my foot a little bit, not as sensational for most of us. And then I'm going to go through, I have a transverse or lateral, arch, right? And so I'm going to start to move up that lateral arch, maybe even on the outer edge of the foot just a little bit. And then you can go wherever you want, any part of your foot that you want to massage. Last piece, let the ankle hang off a little bit if you can. And again, I don't have to have my fingers in my toes, but I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to try to keep one hand stabilizing my shin, right? And the other hand, like I'm got a crank engine or something. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to move my ankle without using any muscles in my lower body. Go ahead and crank your handle the other way. And release that foot down. And just pause and just notice the difference between the 2 feet. Maybe there is none. And now you have noticed that. That's wonderful. Maybe there is some around the babies. They feel different. Maybe noticing how articulating, right? Other foot comes up. So first we've got that weaving through best you can. If you can't get all the toes, just start with a couple of them. When I started this work, I could not get all my toes and I couldn't get very far. And I stayed very much at the tips of and it took a long time, but man, they've come a long way, my little toesies. And then from there, right, you're just going to go ahead and your fingers are going to squeeze into your toes and release that. And then let your toes squeeze into your fingers. And switch that out one more time. Fingers into toes and toes into fingers. And before you release the foot, you're going to try to, this is my tighter hip. So you're going to use the hand to try to really pull not only the foot, but the toes, right? I'm like making my toes go as much as I can. And then I'm going to try to pull not only my foot into plantar flexion, but my toes into plantar flexion. And do that a couple of times. And then go ahead and release the hand out. Now we're going to go into that massage, right? So I'm going to either with my knuckles or with my thumbs, moving through the medial arch. That's the inner arch, the closest to the midline. Again, the one that most of us feel the most. The plantar fascia runs through there. We might feel like we've got no arches, our arch is too high, all the various things, right? Go through the middle of the foot and then go to that outer arch, your lateral arch. And then anywhere on the foot that you desire, Achilles tendon, you name it. And then the last piece is that cranking action, right? So again, I'm going to hold my shin bone still. And then I'm going to move the other way. And release that, bring that down. And again, with those beautiful feet on the ground, hopefully there's more space. We shove them into sensory deprivation chambers, AKA shoes every day, right? Hopefully there's more sensation. And all of that just also worked with your nervous system, just so you know, right? Hopefully you calmed down the nerves, which told the body to calm down. May you be so well, friends. Namaste.